My name is Michael Clark, and I am the program lead for the Huntington, West Virginia program of Project Healing Waters Fly Fishing. I'm putting this video together as part of a series to introduce new participants to fly tying or new individuals to fly tying by putting together multiple videos of simple to follow patterns that also have the reputation to be effective for trout and possibly warm water species of fish. The first pattern we're going to learn to tie is going to be the beadhead zebra midge. It represents the nymphal stage of a midge fly or insect. A midge is defined as a small two-winged fly that is often seen in swarms around water or marshy area where it breeds. And the reason I have chosen this pattern is it is an effective pattern at all times of the year, and all water systems that a person would be fly fishing for trout will include midges, adult, nymph, and emerger phases. The beadhead zebra midge pattern only consists of a handful of materials, and it helps a new person to fly tying develop control of the thread. Okay, so let's start tying the zebra midge pattern with beadhead. In the vise, I currently have a Diachi size 20 curved hook style 1130. And on that hook I have a silver 5/64 bead. This fly pattern I typically tie in sizes ranging from 18 to 24. Your thread, which is in this case ultra thread size 70. And your silver wire, which I'm using 30 gauge extra fine. We're going to start our thread directly behind the bead and capture the tag in. Once you run the thread down the shank of the hook about halfway, just go ahead and trim off the excess and continue to dress the hook by wrapping touching wraps down till the barb of the hook or the beginning of the bend. And at that point we're going to start running our thread back up the hook to behind the bead again. And now if you notice, I have very little space between the hook and my thread holder bopping. The longer you let this thread run out, the less control you have over each wrap. And since the body of this fly is composed of thread wraps, we want to take our time to get a very nice, smooth, tapered body utilizing the thread. I'm going to go ahead and attach my wire to the hook, and to help stabilize the bead, run the end of the wire into the bead itself. Then start taking touching thread wraps back down the hook to the end of the body. Now, after you take so many thread wraps, your thread's going to twist up on itself and become smaller. If you twist your thread holder and unwind the string, it helps you get a flatter wrap with the thread. Okay, our wire is tied in. We're starting to stabilize the bead on the hook. Now we're going to focus on creating that smooth, tapered body with thread wraps. So all the way from the end, I come all the way back up to behind the bead. And I'm going to go ahead and unwind the thread a little bit. so it starts laying flatter on the hook. And then I'm going to come back down the hook with the thread, touching wraps, trying to make the body as smooth as possible, about 2/3 of the length of the body. And then I'm going to take touching wraps back up to behind the bead. From behind the bead, I'm going to go back down the body to about halfway, and then come back forward to behind the bead again. And at this point, I'm going to go back down the body about 1/3 and back up to behind the bead, building up that thread dam behind the bead. Now that I have the body of the zebra midge wrapped with the thread, I'm going to start wrapping the silver wire. And when you wrap this, my first wrap is at the base of the body and completely around. And then from there, I start wrapping up the hook, trying to keep my wraps evenly spaced. And I'm going to wrap the wire to right behind the bead. And then I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to capture that wire. With the wire captured, make a few more wraps over the wire to really lock it in. And now I'm going to put slight pressure down on my thread holder and helicopter off the excess wire. After I helicopter it off, just a couple more wraps, and then I'm going to finish with a whip finish. I usually do 3 wraps with the whip finisher, and I do that twice. Now that the fly is whip finished, I come in with a drop of head cement directly behind the bead on the thread wraps, and then take my finger and spread it out. At this point, you have just tied a zebra midge. Now, I would recommend any new tyer or anybody tying a new pattern for the first time, when you sit down to tie a dozen of them. Keep working on improving it and just practicing the pattern.